welcome back to Pacchino, and today we will do another anime figure review, this time of an OC character which I was anticipating so much because I fell so much in love with the artwork. I tried to make it short and sweet and spicy. We will see, and if you hear some slight noisy crickets, I'm right now trying out a new lens which has autofocus and maybe it will be quite noisy. We will see how it will turn out. I hope not so bad. So first off, I shipped her alone, and it's the Ami card that I received with my order. Totally cute, magical girl with kitties. Nice, really like this. Made by Blade. I think Blade also has some figures. But anyway, the figure that I'm talking about, I will not pronounce the name because the last time I did this in my pre-order video, which I will link up here, was horrible and I didn't make it. So we would just call her Liko. It's this beauty. It's her box. Take a 360 view of her box. I absolutely adore this side with her drawing on it because that's the artwork that I've fallen in love with. And it's a massive box, fit in the 120 scale Ami box. And this figure is by Daiki Kougyou, or has been manufactured by Daiki Kougyou. It's an illustration by Toridamomo, and it came with an acrylic stand, Ami exclusive acrylic stand of this beautiful artwork. Of course I had to have it. She looks so cute. I love this whole theme. It's like a Saiyajin girl. I mean, come on, it's an ape girl. It has an ape tail and it just reminds me of Dragon Ball, to be honest. Anyway, I'm kind of low-key disappointed with this acrylic stand. It's an okay quality. I mean, I got the Onmyoji acrylics, which are now my top high standard. They're up here, and this one just can't compare with it. It has no extra protection film on it. On the back, if you touch it, you will see it's just printed on here, the illustration. So if you will damage the background, you will damage obviously the front, which sucks. But at least the print quality is quite nice, so I'm happy with that. So without further ado, Daiki Kougyou, who is the manufacturer of this figure, has some mixed reviews. Some figures are okay, others are not so good. So it's hit or miss with them, just even worse than Union Creative, because sometimes, or most of the times, the quality is just not there. So we will also take this into consideration. And so let me show you this figure. And here we have her. I want to do this video as short and as quick and possible as I can. I'm biased, that I have to say first and foremost, because I absolutely adore the drawing and I think they have done an amazing job on the sculpting. So I decided to do it a little bit different. We will start with what is positive about this figure, then we will talk about the negativities which I found about this figure, and then we will have my total score which I will give her, and my final opinion about what I think about Daiki's quality figure, because that's my first from them, and if you should buy some of their artwork or not. So starting off with the best part of it, I first and foremost think they have really nailed the sculpting of this figure. She looks really amazing from distance. If you pull her near, looks fine. Really happy with the sculpting of a lot of things. I love how they sculpted her hair, her fingers, her body shape, the base. The base is amazing. So overall, I'm really happy with the overall sculpt. They have done quite some details on different parts, like the liquid at the bottom with the cracked egg, where they even have sculpted some crack on the road. Also the fence is done really neatly, really nice sculpting there. I love the body proportion they have given her, her belly button, the way her abs are looking fine. Also her fingers are really delicate. They have nails with a slight nail polish. So overall, I have to say they really nailed the sculpting on this figure. She's quite pleasing to the eyes. My favorite would probably be her backpack, which has this little escaping monster from the egg that she collected, and she's trying to pull it back with her tail. Although I have to say the tail would be more like a negative, but we will come to it later. I love the details on the back with the different shading methods that they have used, with the gold, with the buckles, and also the zippers they have added to it. And it's done really nicely, and I love this part of the figure quite a bit. Another positivity, and which is always the most important for me at least, I think, if they have captured her expression quite nicely from the artwork. You can never really translate 100%, but it's so close to the original artwork that I'm really happy when I look at her. She has some blush in her face, she has even the little fang on her mouth, her little fruit bag, whatever that is on her hair is absolutely adorable. Has some nice shading here, even some detail. Her head looks really fine. It has also really nice sculpting there, and overall I'm quite happy with her expression. I do wish they would have added the teardrop in it as it was shown in the artwork, but it's fine, it's still cute, and it's not that noticeable in the artwork. Also the hair is also done right now, quite nice. The next positive thing I have to say, assembly and de-assembly to cast off, because it is a cast off feature, is quite easy, quite nice. Everything removes quite nicely, and I had no struggle whatsoever when I had to remove all the plastic from it and readjust everything. Everything fits, and I have no problem there. So another positivity is there's quite a lot of nice shading on all the dark stuff, like her chocolate brown shoes. Her skirt has a nice yellow to orange shading on it with all the folds and creases, which looks really nice. Also her brown top and her arm sleeves are really cute, as is her hat. So really pleased with that. Another positive thing which I have never seen before and I think is really nice, but so they could have done better, is they have given her a movable head. It's a ball joint on her head, so you can move her head a little bit around like I'm showing here right now. Probably because if you display her more to the side, that she's still looking at you, or more to the front, so that you have a bit of an option where to put her face. You can even tilt it a bit, so that was a nice surprise. Not quite sure what they've done with it, but overall I really adore this. And overall her look is quite on point, I have to say. But not everything is sunshine and roses, and so it is also with this figure. We have some negativities that I need to point out right now. I mentioned the painting on their different clothes and how happy I am with the shading. As much as I like this, so little is on her skin, and also on this little monster in her backpack. Like the wings are a little shaded, so the tips are blue and the backpack is really nice, but the actual little monster has no shading whatsoever, and that's a shame, I have to say. The bump of its head and his face, no shading. The same with her skin, is really light. If they're shading, it's not that noticeable and not that much. Which is also a shame, because I already did it on her clothes so nicely. Also, her hair has also no shading whatsoever. We just have some light grayish tips at her ponytail, and that's it. Nothing else is shaded there. And if we're already talking about shading, I also have to mention that the painting is not always on point. We have bleed marks, especially where red is a factor. So the belt around her skirt has a lot of bleeds of the red color into the yellow, or the yellow into the red. The really bright yellow is an awful color on her tights, which they have painted on the darker material, and you can really see it if you take her up front. You can see the different brush they've done. The line is not so nice, and sadly mine even has a chip on the front leg, which looks, oh, I hate it. It has chipped, the paint has chipped. That never happened before. I'm not sure if I should just paint it yellow myself or just leave it, because from afar it looks kind of like it's supposed to be, but it's really bothering me. And also the yellow on her sleeves and on her head are bleeding into the other colors, and they somehow used a different yellow sometimes, or it's just that because different undergrounds make this different, that the yellow looks sometimes really bright and then not so bright, and I don't know. But the yellow also doesn't have any shading. And the same on the backpack, we have these golden trims and some brown dots, also not done as nicely as it could be done. We also have quite some bleeds here. That's that. The next part is this ill-fitted skirt of her. The skirt has a different material than everything else, and it's like a soft rubber material, and also really easily to put onto her. It has two pegs, but sadly one of the pegs already broke when I put it back on her and is now stuck into the hole. Luckily, the skirt still stays closed and you don't really see the gap where it's supposed to open, because her hand is in front of it. But it's a really awful design that it doesn't fit that well. The same can be said about the back part of her outfit. Also this light rubbery material with this peg. I wish they would have done a different kind of peg system, because it's not so nice to close it. It's really difficult, but it's manageable. I did it, so it's not that bad. If we're talking about pegs, we also have to talk about the pegs at her feet. She's secured to one metal peg and one plastic peg, and the metal peg already broke out of it as I was trying to push her into it, because you have to pull her legs apart a bit, and yeah, that sucks. I don't know if you can really see it, but it already came out of, already detached from its base, and if I have to remove her from the base, I will probably pull it out, and that sucks immense. Also, I don't like how heavy she is. As a figure, is really heavy, but the base is just a sheet plastic, so there's a lot of weight on it, and just this like light base makes me worry on the long term if she will sag or not, because it's just such a light plastic and she's so heavy. She's really heavy on it. That makes me worry. Another point that a lot of people also commented on my figure collection is her tail. They said it's boob tail, which I hate. Why would you say that? That's so mean. I have to say it's not the prettiest tail I have ever seen. They could have done better, and it is a critical negative point from my side. This tail doesn't look nice. It's not the best tail, but it doesn't take from the figure. It still looks cute overall. And if you don't look at it from near, it's fine. They could have shaded it, they could have made it more fluffy, they could have made it thinner. I have no idea, but it's not the prettiest tail at all. Next, I have a negative issue, or I have an issue with it, that it's a cast-off figure. Because of course Daiki is a lewd figure manufacturer who does naked figures. But it's so unnecessary. This artwork is not even from a person, or maybe it's a lewd artist, I don't know. The appeal of this figure is of course her ass and her thick thighs. They are really thick. So why cast her up? Because at the end of it there are no two arms, so we will always have the sleeves on and then just her bare chest. Makes no sense for me. I will not display her cast off. I also have to say her boobs look not as nice as my Sky 2 Pinchy-chan figure. They are much better colored and much more nicer formed. They are fine the way they are, but I don't need to see them naked. They don't give me anything in this regard. That's everything. So that's all the negatives and positives of the figure. Now we have to give her a score, which is kind of hard for me because it has a lot of flaws. You saw all the negatives I mentioned. So if I have to give her a score, I'm kind of struggling because I always say a figure under 7 will go out of my collection. My lowest figure to this point is the Saber Altar Altria Pendragon by Alter, the Heroic Spirit traveling version, which I've also done in a video. I will link it up here. As you can see for yourself, it's from Good Smile Company and I was hear all the good noises. Anyway, it's the worst score I've ever given a figure. So when I compare to this figure, I have to say shading and quality wise and all this little thing with the pecs, with the chip, makes her on the same level, if not even worse. But on the other hand, I absolutely adore her sculpt. I adore what they have done with the shading that they have given her, and I'm biased because I love this figure. So at the end of it, I will also give her a 7 out of 10 because I just love it. I love that they were so true to the sculpt. I have my issues with it and it's not completely fault free, but they can do. It's a step in the right direction. I think it's one of their better figures and I hope they will continue doing such a great work. And if you're uncomfortable about getting a Daiki, just wait until people receive their version, then you can see if they messed up or not. But I think the last few releases they really did were better, spot on with the expression, with the prototype. They're doing their best. So I think you can trust them. It will not be a 10 out of 10 figure because they still have some issues that they need to work on, but otherwise I'm still happy. It's a fine figure. She will look nice in the detail next to other figures. I love the design of it and I have to give them kudos that they're trying so many different art styles and they're giving it their best, I think. That was everything. I hope it will not turn out too long. I hope you enjoyed it, seeing a different figure that no one has unboxed until now. And I will catch you in the next one. Tell me what you think about it. And until then, bye bye!